Hi, and welcome to Guitar for Beginners Week 1. My name is Stasia. I will be your guitar teacher for the next 12 weeks. I hope everything is going well with you and your families in this challenging time. I'm really glad that we're all gathered here in our online community and that we're all seeking out for new hobbies, new things to be passionate about. So I'm just really excited to be teaching you, and I hope you enjoy this class as well. So this is intended for people who have never played guitar before. I will be going through lots of basics, especially today. So things like the parts of the guitar, sitting position, just some really good first things that we need to learn. So by the end of the 12 weeks, I hope that you have a good understanding of the basic technique, playing some open chords, some scales, just something to get you started on your journey of learning guitar. And then after that, you can continue to private lessons or group lessons, or band lessons as well. That's really fun too. But yeah, let's just get into it. First, let's talk about some basic parts of the guitar. So I have an acoustic guitar here. You might have one at home. If you have an electric, that's going to work as well, as long as we're playing a 6-string guitar. That's all. So we got the body right here, nice hollow body on the acoustic. We have the neck. We got the headstock. And on our headstock, we have our tuning keys, tuning pegs, tuners, we call them any of those. And this is what we're going to use to tune each string separately. We have our 6 strings, of course. We have the bridge right here where the strings are attached. And the strings are going across the neck to the tuning keys. We have the nut right here. And then we have the frets on our fretboard, which is this part of the neck. We have the sound hole as well, and then on the electric guitar there's a couple other things that we will eventually learn too. So sitting position is really important. You want to make sure you're comfortable, make sure your back is nice and straight, your neck is relaxed, your shoulders are not lifted up, right? Just being very comfortable is really important because we don't want to develop any permanent tension in our muscles. So if you're doing kind of a modern position, you can put the curve of your guitar onto your right leg if you're right-handed, or on your left if you're left-handed. The classical position is a little bit different, but we're just going to stick to this one. So the neck of the guitar should be pointing up slightly, just so that it's a little bit easier on your wrist. So if you're finding that you're practicing and it's, as you're looking at the strings, it's moving down, that will make it harder. So if you're finding that, you're catching yourself doing that, you can sit in front of a mirror or even turn on your selfie camera on your phone. And this will just make sure that you remember how to sit, since I can't be watching you when you're at home. But yeah, so these are some of the basic things. Let's get into some playing technique. So we will be using a pick for this class. So make sure you get a nice medium thickness pick. This one is 0.71 millimeters. They make lots of different ones out there, of course. You might prefer a heavier pick for some faster picking or a thinner one for some strumming. That's going to be up to you, but you can always start with a nice medium one. We will be eventually doing some finger picking too. I'm hoping in this 12-week class we will get into that. But if you do want to kind of narrow down in that area, I definitely recommend private lessons as well, because then we can really tailor it to what you're looking for. So yeah, with the pick here, we got the pointy end, of course, towards the strings. I just tend to use my thumb and index finger to hold them. And then the other 3 fingers are just comfortably sitting right there. There we go. So we can just start with some really basic playing. We can start on our top string. This is the thickest string and it's going to make the lowest sound. And we can use some alternate picking for this. So alternate picking is when we're going up and down. And you can do that on each string. Now there's something called down picking as well and up picking too. So if you would rather start a little bit easier, you can always just do down. So this will just be down, 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 down. And just make sure you're keeping a steady rhythm, right? Just like as if you were playing a song. Yeah, something that I like to do is anchor with my pinky finger, or sometimes with the ring finger too, on the body of the guitar or on the highest string. So as long as you're not playing that one, that doesn't affect it. So this is a good place for it to be, just so that you are feeling that spacing between all the strings. So this is a good warm-up, and then you can move on to the next string. And this way you can go through each of the 6 strings. And of course at the start you might want to look at your pick. And again, you can do down picking, or if you're feeling like you're ready for it, you can do alternate picking. And just go through each string like that, right? Just to feel that spacing between them. So if you're finding that you got through that, this was really easy, try without looking, right? Do the same thing. You can play 4 times on each string. So we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and so on and so forth. And then you can go back as well. So now onto the tuning. This is something that is definitely very important as well. We can use a clip-on tuner such as this one, right? You can use an app on your device as well. There's a good free app called Guitar Tuna. So that one will give you the standard e-tuning for free. If you want any other tunings, then you can get a paid version, but for now we don't need that. But clip-on ones are great because they pick up the vibration of the string. So even if I'm talking or there's a lot of noise in the room, that doesn't affect the tuner. So that's great. So we're just gonna clip it on to the headstock of the guitar. Make sure you can see the screen. And in order to know what pitch to tune each string to, we can use a little phrase that goes, Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. So this is how it works. Eddie, the top string is E, ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie. So this is E string, A, D, G, B, and E. We have two E strings. We have our low E and the high E. So this guitar is in tune right now, but yeah, definitely make sure that your instrument is always tuned before you start playing, because it might sound off even though you might be doing everything right. So really make sure that it's in tune. So in order to tune it, I'll just show you real quick. This might be something that you know, so feel free to skip over it. But I'm just gonna go a little lower on that E string just to show you. So I'm playing my E string and it says a D sharp, which is lower than an E. So in order to tune higher, I'm going to turn away from myself until I see it getting to the E, and there it is. Hopefully you can see that it turned green there. There we go. So that's how you tune each string. I know there's lots of like YouTube videos on this too, so you can get into more detail that way as well. So now that our guitar is in tune, we warmed up with our right hand. Let's warm up a little bit with the left hand too. Something before you even start playing is important to do is some warm-ups for our fingers and especially for our wrists too. So anything that will stretch them out is a great way to start your practice, just because we can develop some tensions and we definitely don't want that. We don't want it to cause any like permanent health issues. So we just want to make sure that you're nice and warmed up. Shake them off. There we go. So we talked about the right hand, with our pick, we were doing some picking. We were doing down picking, some alternate picking on each string. We will be doing lots of strumming too. But as for the left hand, we are going to be using our 4 fingers. So unlike in piano where thumb is finger number 1, we actually start with finger number 1 being our pointer. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And our thumb is going to sit comfortably at the back. So you will see sometimes the grip will change. Sometimes we can use that thumb at the top. But for now, let's keep it nice and centered at the back of the neck of the guitar, just like this. And then the rest of the fingers you will bring to the fretboard and really make sure that you're not flattening them, right? And that you are arching them really nicely, just like that. That's what that would look like from the side. So we are using the very tips of our fingers. We should have our nails pretty short as well, especially in our fretting hand. That will definitely help us to get less buzzing, less muting. So on to some warm-ups for both of our hands. We're going to do something called the spider exercise. There's lots of variations of that one. You might have even done some before, but I like to start this one on the 5th fret of the guitar. So the nut, we're not counting, we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's a dot on that 5th fret too. So feel free to use those dots at the top of the neck as well. And the ones on the fretboard are there for other musicians to see, to figure out which fret you're on. So if we're on fret 5, this is what that's going to sound like. So our thumb is sitting at the back, our first finger is pressing firmly on the string to make sure there's no buzzing, and we want to position it really, really close to the fret. So hopefully you can see it's not on top of the fret, but it's right beside it. So play around with that on purpose, go a little further back. You should hear some muting, some buzzing, not the perfect sound. So the closer you get, the better it will sound. There we go. So we're starting with that first finger. Next one we're going to do is the second finger. So now the second finger we're going to push onto the 6th fret, just like this. And that will raise the pitch by something called a semitone or half a step. So this note was A, and then we went into an A sharp. So we can get into a little bit more theory after that too. So as you are placing your second finger down, I want to see if you can keep your first finger down as well. So as we're adding more fingers, they all eventually stay on the string. So that way you're working on that stretch and the proper positioning of the hand. So I'm going from the first finger to the second, then try to stretch to your third, And then this one can be a little tricky, but see if you could try it. You definitely don't have to, is the pinky on that 4th, right? On the 8th fret. And then you're gonna move on to the next string. So then you do the same thing on the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Again, notice how I'm holding all 4 fingers there. Not that it affects the sound, because you definitely can lift them up, and you'll notice it's all good too. But for now, we're just practicing that nice big stretch between our fingers. Then we can go to the D string, and then we're just practicing this exercise back and forth. So this is not going to be a part of your assignment. This is just something that you can practice at home before you get into your scales and to your chords. So the reason why we start on the 5th fret is because the spacing is more comfortable. You could try starting it on the 1st fret too. You'll just notice that it can be a little less comfortable at the start. So this is going to be something that you can do for the first like couple minutes, 5 minutes of your practice, just to get all those fingers warmed up. Now for your right hand, you can use down picking too, like we did at the start. We can go down, 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 down. Or you could play it down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. If you're feeling like just the down picking wasn't challenging enough. So there's definitely things that you can make more challenging about each of these kind of exercises. So this is just a simple spider warm-up. So that's what we're going to start with. Now, it's really important to learn the notes on our fretboard. So something that will help us is using the open position. So the open position is just the first 3 frets of the guitar, using the notes that we already have on our open strings. So that E, A, D, G, B, and E. So I want us to start with a C major scale. So a C major scale is going to sound like this. So this is what we're going to get started on. This is something you probably heard, maybe played on the piano as well. This is what that sounds like. So there we go, in that octave. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start on our 3rd fret of the A string, okay? So our A string is the 2nd one from the top. This is our string number 5, by the way, because we're counting our strings from the highest to the lowest. So highest in pitch, of course. So this is string number 5, A string. So let's start with our 3rd finger, and we're going to put it on the 3rd fret of that A string. So this is called the note C. So there it is. That's the note C. And this is going to be our root note for the scale. So meaning the first note. There we go. So this is a C. After we play the note C, we're going to move on to the D string, and we're going to play it open. This is the note D, because we tuned it, right? So far we have C, D. There we go. 2nd finger then is going to go on the 2nd finger, or 2nd fret of the D string. This is the next note, E. So we have C, D, E so far. Now we're going to move on and stay on the same string, but going to go and play with the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret. This is the note F. Okay, so far we have C, D, E, F. Okay, notice I'm using the fingers that match the frets as well. So in open position, that's what we tend to do the most. So if I'm on the 3rd fret, I'm using the 3rd finger. If I'm on the 2nd, I'm using the 2nd, and so on and so forth. So far we had C on the 3rd fret of the A, open D, 2nd fret on the D, 3rd fret on the D. Now we have open G, which is right here. Then we have our A note. This is 2nd fret on the G string. And then we just have 2 more notes. We're going to move on to that B string, open, and then 1st fret on that B string, which is the note C. So what we did just now is we went through the notes in that 1st octave of the C scale, right? So in 1 octave. So we went from 1 C to the next C, which is called an octave interval in music. So let's put that all together. I'm going to play it for you first, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about those frets. I will have a page for you that you can follow along with as well, so this should be really helpful. So again, we're starting on the 3rd fret of our A string. This is the note C. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Now, if you feel like you've got it, that was really easy, let's go backward as well. So now we're going to go descending. This is going to be C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So this is going to be the first part of your assignment for this week. And I know for some of you, this might feel like it's really, really easy. For some, it might be really challenging. So let's just see how we all do there this week. And then definitely I'll see what how the group is doing, and then I can give you a little bit more specific things that you can practice. So yeah, this is our C major scale. So again, with all the fret numbers, we have 3 on the A, open D, 2 on the D, 3 on the D, open G, 2nd fret on the G, open B, 1 on B. And then if we're going backwards, of course, same thing. The other way around. Okay, so this was just a 1-octave C major scale. So now let's learn a chord that will match that too. So a lot of the times we will play that ascending, descending scale, and then we would strum a C chord. So in this case, this is called an open C major, right? Basically an open position of the C major chord. So this is how we're going to play our first chord. We're going to start with the first finger on the 1st fret of the B string. So that was the last note that we played. So this is that note C, that's our root note. So let's put that finger nice and kind of curved on that 1st fret of the B string. Then we're going to take our 2nd finger, we're going to put it on the 2nd fret of the D string. So notice the G string is open. So I am skipping this string and I'm going straight to the D string. And then finally, our 3rd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret of the A string. So this is what that will look like. So it might look a little different at the start. You might feel like you're not getting enough stretch there. Just make sure that your wrist is dropped nice and down. Always check on that thumb to be nice and low at the back. So our general, point of reference is wherever your 2nd finger is on the fretboard, that's generally where your thumb would be at the back. So this is just something kind of fun to keep in mind. So if you look at the top view, that's what it's looking like on my hand. There we go. So it's kind of roughly on that 2nd fret, right? But again, instead of putting our thumb at the top, do try keeping it nice and low at the back. So again, we have our 1st finger on the B string, 1st fret, 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the D, and 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the A. Now when we're strumming that chord, we're not going to touch the low E string, we're just going to play 5 strings. So first things first, just play through them separately. It's called a broken chord, right? Make sure that they're sounding nice. Now if they're not, because that happens a lot at the start, if you're finding it's muted a lot, it's very much natural to do that. Our fingers are still getting used to a little bit of the pain. We don't have the calluses in our fingers yet. The stretch might not be there. So just be really patient with yourself, right? Even if it doesn't sound perfect, just keep trying, keep coming back to it, and it'll be all good, right? So this is what that C major will sound like if we strum. So with our pick, we can do down, we can do up as well. So you can do a little strumming pattern too, just something fun that you can do, going down and up. You can do that in something called the 8th note. For example, this is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So there we go, there's a little rhythm. So the assignment for this week is going to be for you guys to play that C major scale from C to C, ascending and descending, and then finish that off with that C major chord. So I'm going to show you what that's going to sound like all together. I really hope that this gives you enough to try this week, and that it's challenging enough. But yeah, I am really excited to see your guys' videos of how you do this week, and then from there I'm going to be able to adjust our program as much as we need for the group that we have. So I believe so far there's 20 of us, which is super awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited. Hopefully this community will keep growing, and we'll keep doing these kind of videos and courses for everybody out there, especially in these times right now where we all have to sit at home. So there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the camera here just to show you one more time. Hopefully you can see it really nicely here. And I'm gonna go again from that 3rd fret of our A string. So this is fret 3, open D, 2nd fret on the D, 3rd fret on the D, G open, A, 2nd fret, B open, C. And again, the thumb is sitting nice and centered at the back, right? So here it is all together. And backwards. And do try to keep that nice steady rhythm as much as you can. You definitely don't have to play it fast. You don't have to go too quick. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video lesson. I'm excited to see your videos, and I hope you have an amazing week.